Hello again, my darlings. It's wonderful to see you here today. I have my handy whiteboard with me, and before this, watch this lesson before the subtraction lesson that comes right after it, because I'm going to go through with you how to form numbers correctly. Now, you've been getting some practice in your green booklets, and we've had practice at school before, but some of those numbers are a little tricky, okay? So if you want to grab a piece of paper and a pencil, you can pause the video and go and do that. And I am going to do the numbers with you we'll do from 1 to 10, okay? All right, do you have your pencil and paper in hand? You're sitting somewhere comfortable where you can see me? Fantastic. Okay, so we are going to start with the number 1. 1 can be super easy, or you can make it a little bit fancy. So I'm going to show you the 2 different ways you can do this, okay? So the first way to do a 1 is just to go start at the top and draw a straight line down. Boom, there's a 1. Pretty easy. Now, if you would like to do it a little bit fancier, I'll show you what you can do. So again, you start at the top, work your way down, just a straight line, but then you can add a little one more straight line at the top and then another straight line underneath. So we can have plain simple 1 that can also look like a lowercase l, and then your fancy number 1. So whichever one works for you, they are both completely acceptable. All right, there are also 2 ways to do a number 2, and I know the number 2 is a really tricky number for a lot of us. So you're going to put your hand on the paper, because that might help with your formation. And then you're going to start with the 2. You're going to start just by putting your pencil down, and you're going to do a little curve. It almost looks like a hook, and then you come down at an angle. So it almost looks like a candy cane or a half a heart. So you start on your paper, and then hook your way around and on an angle going down, and then you just do a straight line on the bottom, okay? So that's a number 2. I know this one's really tricky and needs a little bit of work, but if you go back in your booklet, in your green booklet, there is a page all about 2s. If you want to try and practice a little bit more, that would be a good place to go. You can also do a number 2, same start, but instead of doing a straight line at the bottom, you can do it a little fancier and do a little hook. But before you do this one, I would really suggest getting familiar with that one, getting really good at that one, okay? So now we're going to do a 3. Now a 3 again can be done in 2 different ways just to make things complicated. The easiest way is to do 2 backward C's. Okay, so backward C, backward C. So you do a backward C, 1 backward C, and then you do another backward C right underneath, and there's your number 3. So 2 backward C's, 1 on top of the other. Or you can do a number 3 by starting with a straight line at the top of your page, as straight as can be. Clearly Mrs. C doesn't have lines here. Then you do a straight line on an angle that almost looks like an alligator mouth ready to chomp, or it almost looks like a V that's on its side. And then you're going to come here and do your backward C coming down, okay, or your backward C. So either way, these are perfectly acceptable. So you just pick the one that works best for you and that is easiest for you to do, okay? All right. A 4, again, 2 ways to do a 4. Whatever works best for you is fine, okay? So one way to do a 4, you do 1 straight line, just a half a line, not a full one like you did for your 1. A straight line down, and then a straight line across about the same size as your first line. And then you want to make sure you kind of go up and over like that and go all the way down. So it's just 3 straight lines. 1 down, one across, and then a whole line down, just like you did for your number 1. That's one way to do a 4. A second way to do a 4 is using a triangle. So if you're really good at triangles, this could be the 4 for you. So you come down this way, so add an angle instead of a straight line. Then you do your straight line that way. Okay, so it looks like a V just on the other side. And then you do a straight line down. And it almost looks like a flag or a triangle 4. So you can do it that way as well, whichever one works the best for you. Only one way to do a 5, and just like the number 2, 5s are really tricky and take a lot of practice. So take your time, there's no rush, and the more you practice, the easier it will become. So don't give up, you've got this, okay? All right, so number 5, you go straight across. You start from the top, you do a straight line down, and then you do your backward C underneath. So it's almost like a reverse number 3. So you have that backward C in there, except you've got your straight line at the top, just like you did with a 3. But instead of coming down on an angle, you just go straight down from that top line and make a nice big belly or a backwards C again. All right, a 6, one way to do it, thank goodness. So you just come at the top. So you always start your numbers from the top and work your way down. It's very, very tricky to start down and try to work your way up. So please, if you can, always start at the top. So we're going to start at the top. You're going to come all the way down kind of on an angle, and you're going to scoop it at the bottom and make almost like a B. It's almost the same as the letter B, except instead of the line being straight, it's at a bit of a curve and an angle. 6 is also a bit of a tricky one, and I'm sorry, my numbers are all over the place. It's hard for me to do without lines. You're seeing Mrs. C's weakness here. All right, A7. 7's not too tricky. So it just starts again. You're going to start at the top, straight line across. That's how you start. And then you're going to come on an angle, just like you did for the 3 here. And then, except instead of finishing halfway, you are going to come all the way down, and that's a 7. Now, if you would like to add your own fancy little thing to the 7, you can just do a little tick across. Et voila, there's your 7. 8, one of my favorite numbers, do you remember? Our snowman, you got it, our snowman without a head. So 2 circles, one on top of the other. So we have one smaller circle on the top, and then one big belly circle on the bottom. 2 circles, no head. Okay, a 9 again, one way to do it. You do your circle just like you did for your 8 as best you can. I'm not perfect at circles either. Either. And then you're going to do a straight line down, and it's totally fine to have a little bit peeking up and over your circle, a little bit of the line, not a problem. And now our last number, we're going to do a 10. So you're going to combine your 1. Now we haven't done zeros yet, but it's just a big oval. So I'm going to do my simple 1. So I'm just going to do a straight line starting at the top, work my way down, and then a oval like a squash circle. And that was not very straight. My goodness, Mrs. C. And that's your 10. And this is how you can form your numbers. You've got this. You're amazing. Just keep trying. The more you try, the better you will get. And I send you all my love from my home to yours, and I wish you a wonderful rest of the day. I'll see you next time.